has been way too long since I played Link to the Past, obviously. But this is exactly what you think it is, I hope. A Super Nintendo controller, going to a Wiimote, going to a Wii U that's running in Wii mode, playing this game via the Virtual Console at 480i, kind of goofy at the Super Nintendo, whatever, resolution on a tube TV. So Wii U playing Super Nintendo game in Wii mode with a Wiimote and a Super Nintendo controller with an adapt. You figure it out.
Epic fail.
The wacky world of MultimediaJay.
Well, say what you want about playing Wii U Virtual Console through a tube TV, but it sort of works, with a few visual artifacts here and there, but it's definitely been interesting seeing just what I can do in terms of retro stuff hooked up to the Sanyo. And at the very same time, it seriously makes me wonder if I could build some kind of retro computer, low power, for like emulation type stuff with analog video outputs that would go into one of these things. I don't know if you can even do that with the graphics stuff that's available today. We're looking for like an S-Video or component out on a PC. And when was the last time a PC had any of those? Might take a little work to figure that all out. But the great Geekhouse reshuffle continues. NES games going out through component because it's coming out of a Wii U. That's going to take some getting used to. And I suppose while we're at it, we should throw in a little reminder to Nintendo that the Virtual Console should have a successor service on the Switch. It shouldn't just be NSO for retro games. Otherwise, you're going to see more homebrew projects of people trying to make stuff that they can hook up to a tube TV. Alright, I've been talking on stream a lot about how there's stuff sitting in the box, and that is absolutely true. Here's some examples of things that have been sitting in the box for way too long. It's Labor Day weekend, so it's a great time to catch up on stuff with the extra day, so why don't we do exactly that? Beginning with this universal remote. My latest pickup from the 9to5ers' safety shop, a GE universal remote for all major brands, reprogrammed for Samsung TVs. It's got a whole bunch of stuff on the back. Yeah, I figured that probably get a matching silver remote to go along with the Sanyo for this setup instead of having to walk the universal remote that I use for the other setup over here all the time. Might as well. It's a little bit more primitive than the one that I use for my main setup, but I want to have a remote that I can use over here and not have to constantly be like, where's the remote? When I bring the remote from one side to the other. So let's get this thing out of the blister pack and see if it can be programmed for a CRT. Alright, I'm sure that these instructions are on the internet somewhere, but let's go retro here and actually read them. Press and hold setup until the red light turns on, etc. Press the device button and then punch in the 4-digit code. And then, yeah, this is something my dad probably is familiar with. It was always a pain in the neck in the pre-internet days if you ever lost the list of codes. So he would keep these somewhere. But yeah, list of codes. TV, RCA, really crappy appliance, Sansui, Sanyo, there we are. One of those four, either 1161, 5261, 2891, or 5251. Yeah, I remember he used to keep these in case the remote ever got deprogrammed. He'd have the code list, usually in the entertainment center near where the remotes were stored. This was worth its weight in gold back in the days before the internet. TV. 1161. Turns it off. Kind of makes you miss the days of analog television when channels flipped this fast. Well, this one's got different noise on it. I wonder which one of these has interference from the air conditioner. Oh, look, video 1. So I found out very quickly why these universal remotes wound up in the safety store at the 9-to-5ers. There really aren't enough buttons on there for today's TVs, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to pick this up. Because I figured it'd be a simpler silver remote to go along with the simpler silver tube TV, except the remote is actually too simple. There's no way to hit the menu button on there. It doesn't have the button for it. It has volume and channel and stuff like that, but it doesn't actually have the way to go into the menu or anything. So I need another remote programmed in for fancier stuff anyways, which I can use my main remote for if I ever really want to fiddle with stuff from across the room when playing old consoles. But usually I'll be able to just wheel right up and just push the button to bring up the menu that way. Well, that was fun. I picked up this Color Coral Universal Dust Cleaner, aka cleaning putty for electronics, and I used it to clean the dust that was between the fins and the speaker grill in the Daewoo, as well as around the sides of the UHF knob. Very, very noticeable. And pretty much anywhere else that dust was getting stuck. This thing is almost photo shoot worthy for taking pictures for the overlays and stuff like that. We just got to figure out what lighting we want to use. Alright, let's get to the stuff that's been sitting around for way too long. The stuff that I've been complaining about for way too long. So we got a couple of things here that we're going to check out and set up, and some of it more mundane than others. First, an Anchor ultra slim Bluetooth keyboard. You might have seen this in the background in my streams. This is basically replacing a version of this keyboard where I lost the battery cover for a Bluetooth keyboard mouse setup wherever the heck I might need one. So that's pretty basic. We also have a Power Owl power bank, and then we have an Amazon Prime envelope that's been sitting for over 6 months. I can't even remember what it was for. It was just buried with a bunch of papers. I'm like, oh yeah, I never did open that, did I? Hopefully it's not something that was broken or DOA. Let's get some things out of the boxes here. But before we commence with unboxings and stuff like that, let's tie up some loose ends from the end of the last video with that completely random dagger in the dark, whatever the heck that was supposed to be. So I've been watching a lot of Shadiversity videos, and I also play Paladin type characters in MMOs and RPGs, and occasionally I poke around on Amazon Prime to see what kind of random stuff you can get these days. Put it all together, and it was only a matter of time before I bumped the camera, haha, and started fiddling around with some of these prop dagger type things, like this King Arthur, King of Angels thing. Probably not even full tang. I mean, it feels like this is all plastic and it's gonna snap off. I originally got this one, has no edge to it either, by the way, completely blunt. So I basically picked this up to use as a letter opener, and then realized it wasn't full tang, so much like my Excalibur letter opener from a long time ago, years gone by, I figured this King Arthur, whatever it is, would eventually break because it's probably all plastic down here. So, well, just something to have as an interesting prop. And of course, I've been playing Paladins and stuff in MMOs long enough that eventually some cheapo Crusader short sword thingy also with no edge, it's just a prop. Heck, even the end is rounded. Figured that would probably be just something to really nerd things up with. But then I decided to get a little more serious and decided that there should be a proper successor to the sword letter opener from years gone by. And that's when I picked up this full tang, somewhat sharpened, looks like a Lord of the Rings replica. But this actually can pop open letters pretty easily. And the point on the end, which I'm trying to dull down, is good for splitting tape. It's good for splitting tape on packages. So, finally, a proper successor to the sword letter opener from years gone by, even though my kitchen knives are sharper than this thing. That's what happens when you're a nerd. Now, let's pop open some of those packages. Tape splitter, nerd tape splitter it is. Alright, let's pop this thing open. Pop this thing open, and it's a Bluetooth keyboard. A really basic Bluetooth keyboard, but if I want to have a very compact second keyboard for a 2-computer gaming streaming setup, this and my Bluetooth mouse will probably come in handy, especially if we pair it up with one of those Bluetooth nubs and stuff like that all these things can broadcast to. Oh, and this has film to split. See, it didn't even do that. It didn't even make a clean cut through the film. So yeah, this thing's more of a nerd toy than anything else. Although you do want to be careful with it. And I just wind up ripping the plastic the rest of the way. But before we continue, a little something for the naysayers who might think I'm going a little overboard and nerding things up a little too much here. Jay, don't you think you're just going a little overboard with the whole sword letter openers thing and stuff like that? Well, for comparison, here is a regular letter opener that you can get from Walmart and whatnot. It is very, very full tang, and it's shaped like a shiv. So, the weapon reference is there, regardless of what kind of letter opener you use. So if you're gonna be dealing with snail mail, bills, and other stuff that still comes in paper envelopes these days, why not deal with it with a little bit of style? Alright, my next Amazon curiosity, a Power Owl power bank. I've been buying those super highly priced Amazon and Duracell charger things for how long now? And they only have 4 things on them? Well, here we go. It runs off a micro USB and has a micro USB cable. I got some plans for this thing. I got a lot of rechargeable AA's and AAA's, and I seem to never have enough chargers. So let's check this thing out and see how good it works. Charging is usually something that takes up way too much space and involves way too many wires. So let's hook this thing up over here and plug it into one of the USB ports on the power strip. See what we have here. Ooh, it boots! Let's put some batteries in it and see how many of them are still good. I have rechargeable NIM batteries that go back 10 years at this point, so it'd be good to see which of the ones we could put in here and keep charged, or if it does maintenance charges or something. Yeah, I thought so. These chargers are usually good for identifying which of your batteries have become duds. Blinky reds are the ones that won't take a charge anymore. It's interesting, you know, some of these rechargeables actually are like 10 years old and they're still taking charges. Can't imagine they have too much of a service life, though. The Energizers and the Rayovacs are way newer than the Duracells. But looks like we have a few to get rid of. Oh well. I have that blue charge box over there that I've never been able to find use for. Maybe I should get a few of these Power Owls, then have everything go to the blue box, then that goes to AC and that charges the rechargeables. It says it does do a trickle charge on them. Don't know if that might mean that you can leave them in there, but it's better than the predecessor that I was using. Let me go get one of those. Here's what the big brands are selling. These giant 4-battery, whatever you want to call them, that are like those huge DC power blocks that you find on a lot of electronics. Eats up all the space on a power strip unless you throw in a short cord, in which case you probably have something that looks kind of like this and is drooping like this out of a power strip if you have a bunch of them plugged into a power strip. As opposed to one of these that does 8 all by itself off the USB and lies flat. So, maybe I should get some more of these and fill up some more slots on the blue charger box. There we go, a bunch of matching Energizers. Although it would be better if it was matched up by both brand and type, and not just brand. I should probably get some more of those things, they certainly store better. Just to show how far behind I am on things, I actually forgot that I had this. Universal RF Modulator, the perfect companion to the Daewoo, so that no matter what console we hook up, if there's some kind of like composite or S-Video or something like that support, we can modulate it and put it through the RF on this thing with coax. Is there a coax that... It looks like there isn't a coax though. I might have to go get a coax in order to use this in the first place. Well, it kind of looks like an alarm clock with the black and red color scheme and the text and stuff like that. But unfortunately, I don't have a coax to try it out with. Or don't I? This is the dumbest, most overkill thing that I've ever done in the name of technology. I pulled the coax that hooks up the cable modem to the wall to run this stupid thing. Way too big, way too overkill. But for an authentic experience with retro gaming, maybe it's wise to return to a world before the days of high-speed internet. Okay, ready for my ultimate gaming anachronism? So let's set the tone here. It's summer of 1998. There's no school, so the folks let you stay up late. And by late, I mean like 10 or 11 o'clock. You got nothing better to do, and it's dark out, and you live in the middle of the woods, so, yeah. And this is what it would have been like if I was on the other side of that gaming divide. Turn on the TV, wait for the TV to warm up, and fire up the PlayStation. Except my volume wouldn't have been so scuffed. I gotta fix that I gotta fix the potentiometer. I gotta fix or bypass that potentiometer for the built-in speaker in this thing. But I seriously can't believe how much I actually liked the sound from this TV. And now listening to it later with a real sound system, I hear that it is just a stupid little paper cone in the corner. Alright, let's see what this would have been like on the other side of the divide. DualShock controller is definitely more ergonomic than the spaceship relic that the N64s had. Looking at this on a bubble tube. That's kind of interesting that the PlayStation with 300... Load my config! It doesn't carry over my sound settings, so I mute the music. Well, not bad, actually. Although you do have to wonder if the whole bubble screen thing basically hid how crappy the graphics were. So, let's just go to Pine Hills Raceway. I think the volume... I gotta fix the potentiometer in this thing. The volume is just too scratchy. I have some deoxit spray that should help with that. For now, let's just deal with some scuffed audio. Yeah, that's not too bad. Of course, PS1 on a little 13-inch, you can barely see the Jello effect. I think the same thing. I think the same thing was true. Wow! Send into the. You can tell I never played this. Now I gotta turn around so you don't go the wrong way. Yeah, N64 Destruction Derby was a bit more fun than this. But this is the console I never got to run through this TV. Too bad the audio is cutting in and out because of that potentiometer. So, this is what it would have been like. Watch it! Car almost caught on fire. I gotta say, though, that smaller bubble screen tube TVs do a pretty decent job of hiding the graphics and how crappy they were back then, which is probably why a lot of us didn't care. But the PlayStation 2 even would look so much better than this. Speaking of which, what if I had PlayStation 2? Alright, now we're getting into good old-fashioned alternate history with the PS2 going into the Daewoo. So, imagine, this never happened, by the way, until now. Imagine it's the 2000s, alternate history 2000s. I never end up going to college. I get fired from the 9-to-5ers and most of the industrial park jobs that I go for because of my hot-headed demeanor straight out of high school at age 18. And so I end up working scrappy jobs in restaurants and supermarkets. My dad is upset with me permanently because I was never able to get more education than he did, and I wound up going down the same route he did. And then my stepmother never lets me hear the end of how much of a disappointment I am because I never wound up going to college when I clearly had the potential to do so. So I'm stuck home with my TV deteriorating and eventually a PS2, playing State of Emergency, just being upset at the world because of how my life just didn't work out. And I'm only like 22, 23, and everything sucks. This is the wrong model for that, though. The PS2 Slim is way too new for this kind of scenario. But just to see what it looks like. This thing's about as slow to boot up as the fat PS2. I might need a new laser kit for this thing. Well, nuts. Well, this fits the story all that much better. Oh, here it goes. Just took a while to read the disc. State of Emergency is a really old game. It's basically like Grand Theft Auto 3, but without the story. You know how if you'd play GTA just to, like, go nuts in the city and wreak havoc because you had a bad day? That's this entire game. And it has, like, somewhat like the story of Final Fantasy VII with a corporation taking over the world, but, like, none of the actual story of Final Fantasy VII. And it has somewhat of the story of a Grand Theft Auto game, but none of the story of a Grand Theft Auto game. And it's literally just random mayhem and stuff like that. So, and plenty of load screens, because we're on the PlayStation side of things. So, I think this looks better. I think this looked better on the Sanyo than it does here. This might be, with these load times, this might be a good candidate to run through PCSX2 and just emulate it, so I can have faster throughput on the media for loading stuff.
Since the collapse of the federal government,
the corporation has been making blah 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 blah.
Building a brighter future for its citizens.
Yeah, dystopian crap. And that was just to let that play. Now we gotta wait through another loading screen just to get to the game. 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi. Alright, let's go Chaos. Yeah, why not?
Take him down!
Never really got far in this game anyways.
In other news.
Alright, let's go, just go nuts in a mall or something. This might remind you of the mall from Vice City, if you're familiar with that game. But, yeah, so this is what it would have been like, huh? Little tiny screen. I would have totally wanted a better TV than this. So, other than the polygon increase, I'm not really seeing the difference going from PS1 to PS2 on here. I think the Sanyo displays that difference a lot better, even though it's a fake flat screen. It also helps that the tube doesn't have anywhere near as many miles on it as this thing did, as my daily driver from the 90s. How do we pick items up? Oh, okay. Grenade launcher.
Report all city violators to Long City
Yeehaw! Yeah, this game certainly wasn't a good thing to be playing after 9/11. Let's beat up the security guards or something. Yeah, this will get you demonetized. It's just a dumb game. Pointless, completely pointless. Well, let's start something. Alright, I see to pick this. There we go.
Penalty on civilian kill.
It's basically a really crappy arcade beat 'em up, but I mean, it is Rockstar. It is the stuff Rockstar was making at the time. There we go. Yeah, I had a bad day at work. Let's just come home and do stuff like this. But don't talk about doing stuff like this on the phone at work or something, or you might get fired for workplace violence. Can't run inside the store like you can in a real GTA game. I actually knew someone who got fired for talking about, you know, going home and, you know, blowing things up, so to speak, or whatever, because they're going to play a GTA game. They got fired for workplace violence for talking about that stuff on the job. It does happen. Let's see here. Smash the pizzeria! You get it. It's a stupid, mindless fluff game that people are like, look at what you do in this video game. Which is half the reason us immature dumbasses played it in the first place. So that's what it would have been like if I didn't go to college. Whatever.
Epic fail.
We had to do this at least once. Creaky chairs, creaky tripods and all, uneven tripods, whatever. We had to do this at least once. Let's see, to make this thing stand up a little better. Yeah, get this thing set up here. You are not seeing things you were seeing in NES. Coming from a Wii U, the same thing we were doing at the beginning of the video, but now it's using the universal RF modulator to go through the Daewoo. This was a rental when I was a kid, before my stepmother got caught up in all that 1990s, oh yeah, violent video games are terrible. There we go. Booyah to my stepmother. I don't have this running on original hardware, but I just can't believe how horrible the sound is. It's definitely worse than I remember. Pick picture too. I mean, this looks and plays way better on the Sanyo. That's right. I haven't done the first Palace yet. Let's load up some other games just for the heck of it. See how Wii mode looks on this thing. The ultimate anachronism with gaming for me. I grew up playing Nintendo, but I never thought I'd be doing this. Oh man! Oh, so we, on the Wii U side, we had Zelda 2 and everything. How about regular Zelda, baby? The one all my sitters had, but I never got to have. Because Fat Link making his sword appear a foot in front of him was too violent for me. Did I even get the sword? Yeah. Oh, I haven't even been to the first. I haven't even been to the first labyrinth. Ah! This is definitely better on the. This is definitely better on the Sanyo. I keep almost saying Samsung. I don't know why. But imagine how much fun this would be getting an emulator box over here that had analog output or a DAC converting the HDMI to analog and set something up like this. Like, the ultimate retro box. I literally do not have a B weapon because I'm brand new on the Wii U side of things. That's the inventory button. Select was pause on the NES. Select was pause on the NES. This controller's not 100% going to the Wiimote and then to the Wii U. Alright. We always went to level 1 at least. There you go. Let's go beat up a few Stalfos. There you go. Little kid with no motor skills kept running into him half the time. I'm doing almost as bad at 40. Oh boy. Oh, that was fun. I do have to ask though, with everyone turning to tubes and stuff for retro stuff these days, has the era of the camcorder Let's Play finally arrived to where I should use a camera as use a camcorder to capture a CRT? Is it that retro these days? Things that make you go, whatever. A game I never got to play on this TV. To think this is what I would have thought was good back in 1991. Mono sound and everything. Now you're playing with power, superpower. Looks like I got through at least one dungeon. Oh, but that sound though. Seriously. Maybe it's because the volume's all screwed up on this thing, but that sound, seriously. I just can't play this with that horrible speaker in there, and it's only mono. I'd have to bypass the audio to use the Daewoo these days. Just, hey, it had its day, but I think this, I don't have the Sanyo for nothing. The Wii Menu through the Daewoo. Ah, my ears.
Epic fail.
There's something I haven't heard in a long, long time. Yeah, here we go. Something that was never allowed on this TV back in its day. Can I get the volume right on this one? Hadouken! Yeah. Where's Ken? Oh, I'm up against Dalzin first. I'm gonna get my ass handed to me by Mr. Rubber Arms. Yoga Fire! I never played fighting games. I have none of the moves down, have no idea what I'm doing, and completely suck at them. Oh, I forgot he has rubber legs, too. Alright. Yeah. You think? Yeah, alright. No. But hey, yeah, the ultimate booyah to my stepmother. I'm finally playing Street Fighter 2 very, very badly on my childhood TV. Took me long enough, but whatever.
Epic fail.
Another game that my stepmother would have considered to have been too violent. I seriously gotta do something about this volume problem. Alright, all the way down, but with just a little. See, that's a nice volume level. Let's just leave it at that. There we go. That's too violent. The guy has a bow. Come on, how come I can't jump? I was never able to get past this first. I did play this over Sister Esther's house back in the day. The sitter that introduced me to Nintendo. There's a very specific reason why I never got past the first stage. That. I'm finished! What a stupid system. Oh, the thing you were just on scrolled off the bottom of the screen. Now it's a bottomless pit. Oh wait, the angel dude's name is Pit. Whatever.
Epic fail.
There we go. There we go. Now this is a game that I should have been allowed to play. But it's too violent, even though it's a JRPG. Why did my stepmother get caught up in the hysteria of the 90s? What do I have for save games here? Yeah, break the seal, end of time. Let's just go to the Dark Ages. I don't even remember where I was.
Hey, this game looks violent. Why are you playing this game? What are those numbers that appear on the screen after your guy hits him with your sword?
Too bad Robo is so slow. Why is it taking forever to kill these random mobs? I should have gone somewhere I've already beaten in this game. Come on, at least kill a mob. Alright, enough of this. We're gonna activate some text. This is too boring. Let's see. Laser spin! Yep, there we go. Yeah, kind of dull. So, back in the day, I probably would have had a hard time reading the text at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, the experience that I've had... Yeah, the experience I've had with getting this Daewoo working again, even with emulation stuff like the Virtual Console, is that I should probably let bygones be bygones with all this stuff. Yeah. Let bygones be bygones. Take some overlay pictures of this, and then just call it with all of this stuff. Heck, maybe my stepmother might even want this back. She seemed to like it so much.
This was supposed to be a Labor Day weekend video.
Epic fail.
So basically, the 9-to-5ers can't field a team for beans, so there's more hours, there's more to do, and more running around. The rest of the summer was definitely a cardio workout, and I've actually lost 20 pounds over the course of the summer. But we're back to it being quiet and a better environment for videos late at night in the Geekhouse. So I took the liberties of cleaning up the project area so we can actually have one again. But if I want to bring the Daewoo TV back, I can easily just move the keyboard and mouse, and there's not much for clutter left as well. Speaking of which, that is kind of the next chapter in the story, so let's bring the Daewoo back out here and set it back up. So yeah, that universal RF switch needed a coax cable. Good old Walmart. So now we can hook up pretty much anything we want to this thing, without having to, of course, grab the giant cable that hooks up the cable modem. The other reason this video keeps not getting done, every time I set this thing back up, I just have to ask myself, is this TV really as bad as I remember? And yeah, well, when it's all you have, this is all you care about. Something that definitely the CRT folks out there need to think about. Since it's a Nintendo 64, and I recently got the real RF adapter for it, that's actually first-party Nintendo, which was actually an RF modulator that goes out to a Nintendo RF Switch, we can finally retire this high-performance piece of crap with its can't use, with its worn-out switches and mono sound, right channel only. It is finally done. My dad tried to do the right thing back in the 90s, but I guess Nintendo really didn't do a good enough job publicizing the official RF modulators for the Nintendo 64. Why would it take decades until the Amazon era for me to find that out otherwise? Either way, this TV's problems still unfortunately exist. The screen is off to the side, and the volume knob is shot. I don't even know if I want to keep it past taking pictures of it for retro streams. Maybe my stepmother might want this thing back, who knows? But while we have the project area as the most dusted place in the house, let's take a look at this V-Light, the latest scratch and dent pickup from the 9-to-5ers' safety store. This is one of those electronics lights with the magnifier on it and stuff like that. I remember these in the electronics shop when I was in high school. This one unfortunately was damaged on the bottom, so hopefully it still stands up straight and doesn't wobble, but we shall see. Let's get this thing out of the box and let's see, do I want it as optional kit, or do I want to find a way to permanently hook it up over here? So I think it runs off of AC. We'll have to see what size it is. But yeah, this would be really good for taking a closer look at electronics and stuff. Well, it's made out of metal and everything's in bags, so we might luck out on this one. Yeah, these are definitely the magnification lamps I remember from electronics shop. They're just smaller and more consumer grade these days. So you just set it up, you hit the little switch, and then it turns on, and it draws a grand total of about 5 watts. You just pop the very, very plasticky top open to look through the magnification. The thing is, the magnification doesn't look interesting on camera. It is far, far bigger than it is on camera. Like, this looks like a window on camera, but to my eye, maybe if I back it out a little, yeah, that's what the issue is the camera is a lot more closer than I am. Literally all I can see is plug when I'm over here, but you can see everything because you're closer. So, just one of those things with the cameras and everything. Can I back way the heck up and make that 5 watts super big? Yeah, there we go. A little 5-watt device. I'm curious what the fluorescent version of this used to be. Turn that off, close the lid, so it doesn't get dust in it, and then just do this. The other thing we can do with this is it's on a boom arm. You can turn it sideways and use it as a work light. Just aim it up or aim it down inside the side of a computer, and if we need a closer look at things, just pop open the magnifier. So this thing definitely has some uses over here, besides making the focus go completely wacko on the camera. And then we have to refocus it on something. Come on, Athlon. Oh, this thing's not in auto mode, that's why. Let's just put it in auto mode, see if it'll autofocus as well. Maybe I should... I think I have to dust the lens. This is getting as bad as a webcam. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Maybe I should bust out the tripod for these things. Yeah, that could be useful, but not as a permanent fixture. We'll drag that thing out when we need it. The other thing that this thing came with is a little clamp thing that we can use to clamp it onto a desk. Not so sure about that. I'd rather have it mobile and able to move around, so I don't think I'll have any use for this. We'll just keep it with the desk mount setup that it came with. This was supposed to be a Labor Day weekend video from the beginning of September. It is now notably into October of 2022. This nonsense ends here. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on over the past couple of weeks, but it shouldn't be holding up videos like this. So, without further ado, I'm gonna hard cut this whole mess, and we'll just pick things up with the next video. Oh yeah, I'm sure that is pretty much guaranteed that this video is going to be complete and total spin art, but hey, such is life. Alright, enough with this nonsense. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay, signing off. Thanks for stopping by.